Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Homunculus Horde. For 3 colorless and 1 blue, it's a creature Homunculus 2/2 with whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a token that's a copy of this creature. So this immediately draws some comparisons to some older cards we've seen in the past. Obviously it's very similar to Scute Swarm, but it has a couple of things that it does differently, enough that I think it's worth talking about. For starters, the mana cost is a little bit higher. Yes, it costs 4 instead of 3, but you are getting a 2/2 instead of a 1/1, so that's basically doubling the power output. That's pretty solid. And the interesting thing is that this is very easily abusable in the right deck. Now, Scute Swarm is great in landfall decks, don't get me wrong, but even in the best landfall deck, it can sometimes be hard to get a consistent amount of triggers, so you have to kind of hope that you have a bunch of lands in hand or a bunch of ways to dig the lands out of your deck. This is a lot more contained in that you can only do it once per turn, but you can also do it once for each player during a turn cycle. So that actually means that you can get 4 triggers off of this in just one go around the table, which is not too shabby at all and should be very, very powerful. The other advantage, of course, is that you don't need to have 6 or more lands in play for this to do its thing. You can just drop it on turn 4, and if you have a way to draw an extra card, you're immediately going to get the trigger, and at that point it's very, very difficult to deal with this. That means that this is a much better play on curve than Scute Swarm, which you're generally going to have to save till the late game to be a finisher. This can just be a good mid-game card that forces people to either remove it or face a pretty big problem. So what are some of the decks that this is going to be very good in? Well, obviously decks where you're going to be drawing multiple cards per turn are the best. The Deep Blue Sea Precon is the obvious inclusion. This is basically tailor-made for that deck. It's very, very nice, and your deck is built around the ability entirely. Plus, you can also control really well when to draw cards with that deck, seeing as you're going to be making a bunch of clues. Any deck that makes clues is very good with this if you have enough mana to be sacrificing the clues, because it does let you control when you draw very accurately. But that's not the only deck where this is going to be very good. In Mist Bumbleflower, for example, this is going to go really hard. That deck very reliably allows you to draw multiple cards per turn, and if you build the deck with a few more instants, you can trigger it during your opponent's turn, though of course you don't really have to. Just doing it during your turn is enough, really, especially with Mist Bumbleflower out. That's very, very easily achievable, and once that happens, you're going to be making a lot of copies of this Homunculus very, very quickly. To me, it seems like quite a strong card, much stronger than it might appear at first glance. People, I think, will be put off by the fact that you can only do it once per turn, but in the right deck, this is going to be basically 4 times per turn cycle, which translates to getting out of hand extremely quickly. So yeah, do not sleep on this card. This definitely seems quite strong to me. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think though? Do you disagree with me, or do you think I got it right? Let me know in the comment section below. I always make sure to read all of your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.